Hello and welcome to a short exploration of philosophical novels that I recommend as a holder of master's degree in philosophy. My name is Nikodem, and today we'll delve into a world where literature meets philosophy. In the realm of literature, philosophical topics are abundant, as philosophy is incredibly broad discipline spanning from formal logic to theory of beauty. Novels, by telling stories, reflect on human doubts, dreams, thoughts, and because of that, they often include philosophical topics. As when individuals delve deeply into their thoughts, they commonly turn into philosophical thinking. Of course, through the art of interpretation, philosophical topics can be found almost anywhere. But in some novels, philosophical topics were included more intentionally than in others. And today I want to present 10 such novels. Well, maybe slightly more than 10, but you will see what I mean. My idea is to present novels that vary in style and in philosophical topics they explore, so everyone may find something that interests them. Some of them are aimed at more experienced readers, and some of them are aimed at people that are not used to reading classics or philosophy, as plurality is the best word that describes this list. And the list starts with The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. And as the title suggests, the central topic of this novel is the lightness of human existence. How easily identity of an individual can change and how easily it can be influenced by some random events. For example, how meeting a random person on a train station can absolutely change shift of your life. People want to be happy, which is of course a banal statement, but most often they don't know what can make them happy, and because of that they find themselves in inability to fulfill their desires. Kundera's work raises questions about the nature of existence, the choices we make, and their consequences. The characters in the novel grapple with issues of personal identity, love, freedom, and the concept of lightness of human life. And we explore those topics through a story of a couple of characters set in Prague in the 1960s. The novel is substantial and written in a non-standard style. However, it easily grabs readers' attention, even though some topics are relatively deep. It's an existential writing in a postmodern style. Since we are talking about novels and philosophy, one author cannot go unmentioned, and it's of course Fyodor Dostoyevsky. I recommend two of his novels, one Crime and Punishment and Karamazov Brothers. And that's also why I mentioned at the beginning that there will be slightly more than 10 novels on this list. Dostoevsky's characters have always complex minds and are grappled with moral dilemmas, such as the existence of God and the nature of good and evil. The Brothers Karamazov explores theodicy, while Crime and Punishment delves into a psychological torment of a morally corrupted young mind. What makes me cringe a little as a philosopher are strong moralizing aspects of almost all Dostoevsky's novels. He vividly attempts to present a reader with only one right path in life, which is of course some kind of Christian-like moral system. And in Crime and Punishment he does it in the most painful way by misinterpreting Nietzsche as a nihilist. Nevertheless, Dostoevsky is amazing, especially if you are into classical novels. And if you are not familiar with any work of Dostoyevsky, I strongly recommend to start with Crime and Punishment. And if you already read it, then I strongly recommend the Karamazov Brothers, as it's my favorite Dostoyevsky's novel. The third book, or actually books, are The Trial and Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka. Kafka is a master of absurdity, and his novels are a must-read for anyone interested in existentialism and human condition. The Trial presents the story of an anonymous man in the world of absurd bureaucracy, where he is accused of a crime that is never revealed to him. It illustrates the lack of individual autonomy and how a complex social system that we live in can be absurd and even cruel. In Metamorphosis, we witness the transformation of the main character into a giant insect that, regardless of this transformation, tries to live his everyday life. The story examines themes of alienation and isolation. Kafka's work delves into the absurdity of human existence and the struggle to find meaning in a chaotic world. Both novels are short and easy to read, but they are also at the same time thought-provoking and profound. And this might be a good choice for a reader that is not accustomed to read lengthy classics. The next recommendation is another pair of novels written by Albert Camus, and it's The Stranger and The Plague. Camus was a French philosopher and existentialist awarded with a Nobel Prize in Literature. Through The Stranger, Camus explores the absurdity of life. We follow the main character's indifference to societal norms. The novel is very short, yet thought-provoking. It's a good place to start reading existentialists, but I think The Plague is overall a better novel. The Plague serves as an allegory of the human condition, highlighting the struggle against an unexplainable, deadly epidemic. Similar to The Stranger, it presents an absurdist view, this time on a plague that happens in a city of Oran in Algeria. The novel stresses the powerlessness of individual characters to affect their destinies. Camus knows how to grab a reader's attention, therefore both of those novels are a good choice if you want to start reading classics and reading existentialists. The next position might be slightly exotic. It's written by a Polish writer, Witold Gombrowicz, and the title of the novel is Ferdydurke. Ferdydurke delves into a chaos of adolescence and societal norms. It questions the essence of human identity, highlighting the social masks that all of us wear. According to the novel, an individual cannot escape norms and expectations imposed by the society. The novel is set in Poland in 1930s, and it's partially a satire about the educational system. One word that might best describe this novel is grotesque. It tells the story of Józio, which is a main character, that despite his adolescent age, comes back to school because he's not fit to live in society. Gombrowicz was a nominee in the Nobel Prize in Literature, but sadly he died and didn't receive it. In Poland, it's a classic that every high schooler needs to read, but I'm not sure how popular it is abroad. If you like grotesque, then this novel is definitely for you, as Gombrowicz is an unquestionable master of this style. The next recommendation is slightly different, as it's a novel that directly tells a story about philosophy, and it is Sophie's World by Justine Garder. Sophie, who is a main character of the book, explores the history of philosophy through a mysterious correspondence course, and the reader does it with her. The novel offers an unique blend of fiction and philosophy, making it an engaging introduction to philosophy. It's a novel with fantastic elements and a sense of mystery. I'm not the biggest fan of this book, but it has many advocates. It certainly serves as a good and accessible introduction to philosophy. And I want to recommend this book to those who want to start exploring this discipline. You can start by reading a novel instead of reading a slightly boring introduction to philosophy kind of book. But for a person that is already familiar with philosophy, that might not be the best choice. The next book is a recommendation for all the science fiction fans out there, and it's Solaris by Stanisław Lem. Lem's Solaris is a classic science fiction novel that raises questions about human communication, understanding, and limits of our knowledge when encountering alien-like entity on the planet Solaris. It's a novel in a classic sense, written in an engaging style with action and mystery. I don't know why, but Lem's novels usually captivate me to the degree that I end up reading the novel just in a couple of days. And Solaris is no exception. It tells a story of a scientist that travels to a mysterious planet research station. And on the station, things that cannot be easily explained by science happen. The planet is also very special because it's fully covered by a mysterious ocean, which, according to some in-novel theories, is intelligent living organism. If you like science fiction, then this is a must-read for you. No excuses. Read Solaris. You won't regret it. The next recommendation is, again, dual, and it's Brave New World by Aldous Huxley and The Year 1984 by George Orwell. I recommend them both as they are conceptually similar, but they do it in different ways, emphasizing different issues. You have to choose between Huxley's vision of society controlled by pleasure and conformity, or Orwell's nightmarish vision of totalitarian surveillance state. Both novels provoke deep reflection on freedom, control, and individual in society. Personally, I prefer Orwell's work on that topic, but I know that there are many advocates of Huxley's novel. I think that reading about such a dystopian vision is important, as the loss of freedom might be trivial and a result of slow process. One example of that might be inflated political correctness. Reading those novels make you think about personal freedom in society and the dangers of losing it. The next recommendation is aimed at experienced readers, as it's a rather bulky and not easy to read novel, and it's The Magic Mountain by Thomas Mann. It's coming-of-age story, both comic and tragic. It is set in tuberculosis sanatorium in the Swiss Alps. It follows the main character's 7-year stay at this high-altitude sanatorium. And within this mountain isolated world, he encounters some philosophical debates. The novel explores the tension between the intellect and the allure of more hedonistic path. It questions the assumption that profound existential questions should occupy the minds of all individuals. The story suggests that most of the people, when given a choice, opt for simpler pleasures, leaving the philosophy behind. In Magic Mountain, The interplay between intellect and temptation highlights the complexity of human existence and the role of intellect in people's lives, which is commonly overshadowed by simpler, easier pleasures. It is widely considered as one of the most influential works on 20th century German literature. It's certainly worth reading if you have enough patience. The final recommendation is a novel by a French writer, Pascal Quignard, and its title is All the World's Mornings. It's a nostalgic position for me, and I am a big fan of the atmosphere that Quignard was able to create in this novel. The novel is set in 17th century France. It's incredibly short and written in the style of that time. It tells a story of a genius musician and composer, Monsieur de Saint-Colomb, who, after the death of his wife, lives in a great solitude. He spends all days playing on his viola da gamba, and that's basically all he does. He doesn't play for audience, he doesn't sell his music, he just plays for himself. The novel explores the topic of longing for the ineffable, that which cannot be expressed, and the inability of reaching it. This concept is represented with the protagonist's wife, which is the afterlife. The music is something that cannot be explained. That's why Monsieur de Saint-Colomb focused only on playing, to be closer to his dead wife. Quignard was passionate about the side of reality that we cannot grasp. For example, with the state of a human before birth. And it's certainly visible in this novel. There's also a great movie based on this novel, which I strongly recommend. All the World's Morning is a profound meditation on human experience, exploring themes of love, memory, and passage of time. I strongly recommend it for all the dreamers and people that are passionate about Western art music. And that was the last position of my list of 10, maybe slightly more than 10 philosophical novels that I recommend. If you are not familiar with them and you are not used to reading classics, I strongly recommend to start with shorter positions like Metamorphosis or The Stranger. Otherwise, I recommend reading the novels that are the closest to the style that you are most accustomed to. Remember that the best moment to start reading classics is now. And don't be afraid of classics, because they are classics for a reason. Also, I would love to hear from you. What are your favorite philosophical novels, and what would you recommend to others? And especially the positions that weren't mentioned on this list. For now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.